Hi guys, it's Adam and Peter here from Blend Commerce. Hope you're all doing well. We are today going to be doing a website teardown. Now, we haven't done a website teardown for a little while on any of the Shopify groups. So I think we were quite excited with Peter about getting to do one today.
Absolutely.
So first of all, just wanted to say thank you to the guys at We Are Not Them, who have very kindly asked us to do a website teardown for them. Just to kind of explain how this is going to work today is that Peter and I have had a look through the store. What we're going to do is do a review specifically on mobile and look at some specific points and recommendations that we feel could help this particular store improve, particularly when it comes to their key metrics. So for example, like their conversion rate, like the AOV, like bounce rate, all of those kind of key e-commerce metrics. We want to basically make some comments about how we feel that those can be improved for this particular store. Now, when we were thinking of doing this, we initially were kind of saying, look, let's obviously do a teardown. But Peter was very keen, I think, to obviously focus on mobile. Peter, why do you kind of want to focus on mobile in particular here?
Well, without knowing this brand's exact stats, most websites are going to be getting at least 80% traffic on mobile. That could even be over 90%. So for me, the focus needs to be on mobile first, and making sure that the mobile version is great. You then retrofit your desktop and make sure that that's also good. I wouldn't go the other way around. I wouldn't look at desktop and then look at mobile. For me, mobile is definitely the most important.
Sure. Okay, cool. Well, what I'll do then, Peter, if you want to kind of start, I think we're going to start with the homepage, aren't we? And hopefully all you guys can see it on the screen. We've just basically used the inspect mode here to sort of put it into to mobile format. Yeah, Peter, I'll let you dive in.
Sure. So on mobile format, this is actually sitting on the iPhone 6 and iPhone 7 size. And that will just give us a view what most people are going to be using, the same sort of screen size, what most users would have. So we'll give you a great indication of sort of what's above the fold when people are landing on this page as well. So I think first things first, let's talk about the header and the navigation. I think, great, very clear, very tidy header and navigation. But one thing that I would say is currently, with this subscribe to the newsletter forming onto two lines and then the header with quite a bit of additional white space, you're seeing your vital real estate. There's about 20, maybe a little bit more, 20% of that real estate already be taking away just with the header. Additionally, what I'd say on this page and about the header is what you don't have is any sort of animation. So if I scroll off there, you'll see the navigation and the header disappears. And a great way to improve that usability would be, so if I'm scrolling down, not having it there, but if I reverse scroll, so show intentions that I'm tired of looking at this page, I want to go somewhere else, is actually bring that header back into view. So with a bit of code, you can always do that, and you can bring that header back in view and let it be sticky on mobile when there's a reverse scroll. Just some more finer points, what I'd say here, a way that we could improve what's happening here, making sure that this was only on one line, I think would be vital, to just reduce the size and the impact that has on that, main landing page. You could probably lose a little bit. I know this might, designers might say different. You could lose some spacing above and below this logo to reduce that size further as well.
And I think just that messaging as well, Peter, with the subscribe to our newsletter, you get a £10 voucher. That's quite wordy. And I think, just being a little bit more direct there could help you also save that space. So, just change it to something like, get a £10 voucher here.
Yeah.
And then obviously that could then obviously take that to that one line and just be a bit more direct in terms of getting people's interest in.
Yeah. It's a little bit more intriguing as well, just saying get a 10% voucher. They don't know what they're getting that for. By telling them what they're getting it for, most people won't even click on that. I think one of the other elements, and he's probably getting a little bit picky now as well, the search isn't that prominent. This could actually do with, you could even put this below and make it a little bit more prominent, but you're going to lose a bit of real estate. Considering this brand doesn't have a lot of products, and also the fact that we'll get further into this a little bit later with the collection pages. search might not be that important. Could probably even get rid of search on the store. It's only got about 32 products. It's not a hell of a lot that you would want somebody to actually be using search on the site. If you're getting into the 500,000 mark, that's when search and detailed filtering and things like that sort of come into play. So could possibly get rid of that. From my side, and this might be a personal preference, I do like to see the hamburger menu on the left. I think this is somewhere that, a lot of sites would normally have that hamburger menu on the left and not here. It'll be interesting to see if you did some tracking, the usability of there and how many people actually are wanting to click on the menu that might actually click on search or click on the cart instead, because there's not that much thumb space between those different call to actions over there.
And I guess something like Hotjar or Lucky Orange to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see people navigating and then probably hitting the cart page and then realizing, they've gone to the wrong thing. They actually wanted to trigger the menu instead. Would be interesting to see what that would do. Additionally, you could A/B test this and push that menu, the hamburger menu, over to the left and see if it does anything to conversion rates. Right. So, from my side, that's what I wanted to talk about on the header. Adam, did you have anything else that you would like to add there?
No, I think it's just kind of moving down now.
Cool. So I think for me, first impressions when landing on this page, it's great. There's great bit of information. It tells me exactly what this company does. I understand they do t-shirts. They do designer t-shirts. They're ethical. And for me, it's always important. What does a company sell as soon as you land on their page? Before I do anything else, I can understand that. I think you probably have some comments around the way that they can present this information. But for me, the vital thing that's lacking on this is a call to action button. I think if we look just below the gifted designer t-shirt with a conscience, just below that, we could have two call to action buttons. One to say gift now or shop gifts, and another one to say shop all. Two buttons side by side there. You've got your call to actions, and you'll probably see a lot of people clicking through on those call to actions. By not having call to actions there, what you're going to be encouraging is people to use the mobile menu instead. So you then losing a bit of control of where you want to push them to. Do note as we go down, you obviously are then pushing them where you want to go. I think shop all on this website is very important because, like I said earlier, there's less products. There's only 30 odd products. Shop all is obviously you want to present them with all the products as quickly as you can. There's not necessarily the need for them to filter down into collections. But it is great to see that there are these collections as we go down, and we can see that they've got different types of t-shirts that people can shop for as well. Also great to see the coming soon in the sales section because, those are two great ways to show them to your growing brand as well. Talking a little bit more high level on those, I think it's lacking call to action buttons again. I know that we've got the shop all here and the text, but there's on mobile, there's no hover functionality. There's no ability for them to see that that's actually clickable. So making that a little bit more clear and actually making it a call to action button would make it a little bit easier for people to understand that, oh, this is where you want me to click. Okay, I'll click through here and go to these different collections.
I think that's, Peter, probably from a design point of view, one of my overall things here is that, while the design looks good, there are not really that many signposts to indicate where people should be clicking.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, where there's some kind of weakness here that needs to be improved. Like you say, is that it doesn't naturally make you want to gravitate to clicking that. It seems like it might just be, sort of embedded text over the top. I think just kind of going just above the collections here as well. Although the information above the collections is good, I do again think that needs to be condensed. If anything, we look further down the product page, we could almost probably lose a lot of that information and then just obviously put those call to actions in, because I think in a way it just generates a bit too much noise and doesn't necessarily, again, signpost the customer, probably just confuses them more by having so much text there.
Yeah, look, I think I'll play devil's advocate on that. I think this is great because it helps you understand quickly. I think there's a better way that you could present this information, maybe with some iconography and just some short, snappy text around that iconography. 3 or 4 across here You'd be using the same amount of real estate over there, but you can literally have it visual instead of actually copy heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so moving further down, for me, it's great to see that there's reviews. That's obviously a big trust indicator. My concern is you click this, you're going off page, so that actually leads you to Trustpilot, and it's not actually the reviews on the site itself. Look to make sure that those reviews are embedded on the store and not making somebody leave the store to see those reviews. Considering the low review count, I would probably stick clear from having that review count there. I would rather stick with 5 stars. I think all these reviews are 5 stars, so I would stick with 5 stars and say, as 5-star rated products, and then don't actually make reference to how many reviews there are. In the same sort of vein, this quote over here is great, but it would be even better if we could get accompanying profile image of the person that left it, the stars that they left. So if it was a 5-star review, just having the star count there as well, and even their name just to go with that profile image. Obviously, data protection, you'd actually have to get the permission from that person to do this on your store, and you'd probably have to just put their first name and maybe the first letter of their last name and not actually their full name. But yeah, it's great to see these trust indicators starting to come in onto the site. Some other things that, if we go through here, I think, again, for now, we're starting to see call to action buttons, which are good. I think these need to be introduced further up. But I know it almost seems like we could reduce the size of this page and not put this much information on here. I'm not so sure how many people would get here. Again, it would be interesting to put something like Hotjar on the site and see how many people are actually scrolling this far down the site. From experience, it's probably only about maybe 10, 20% of people that are getting this far down. There was a bit of vital information that I thought, who we support. I think these are great. These are great trust indicators in my mind. And I would look at actually pushing this further up the site. If you're giving to charities and you're helping out different organizations, it's always great to have those logos and have those as trust builders and show people that, you're not just saying that you're ethical and you're conscious about the environment. You actually go and then say, okay, well, look, we're actually working and supporting these brands as well. I think what is lacking here is maybe a little bit of information about how you actually support these different organizations. For me, okay, you support them, but what are you doing to actually support these different brands? I think it's important to get that information across as well. From a home point of view, I think, there's nothing more to add here. I think if we go down and we look at the footer is great navigation on the footer. It's always good to have more navigation. People get down to the bottom of the page, they're looking at what else to do. So offering them some great navigation there, making sure that they can go across to the next page on your website and spend a little bit more time there, and obviously hopefully shop. Any suggestion here? I would say credit card and payment provider icons, just adding those to the footer just adds a little bit more trust and just makes it a little bit more polished as well, to show people that it's a shopping website instead. Cool. Anything else from your side, Adam?
No, that covers it off. Great. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, cool. From this point, what I did is I went to one of the collection pages, sort of chose it at random, but I thought, let's go to their branded collection. So let's just navigate there now. So want branded. Okay, so this will take a little time to load. There we go. I think the key thing for me here is the fact that there's no products shown. Above the fold, I've landed on this page and I'm still not presented yet with any of the products. I've showed intention that I want to start shopping now. I've said I want to go to a collection, and I've got there and I'm still not seeing it. I first have to look at an image, look at a bunch of copy before I actually can scroll down and see a product that's actually on offer here. So for me, from a design point of view, yeah, you'd be losing something, but from a usability point, I think you'd be gaining a lot by actually getting rid of this image completely. Just having the collection title at the top, and then maybe one or two or three lines of copy before sort of hiding that off. And you can do some shadows and make sure that text is actually hidden. And then with like a read more button that then opens up that text if somebody does want to read that. I know it's great for SEO, but from a usability point of view, we want to start reducing the vertical real estate here before we start showing different products as well. So for me, that's definitely two things we need to do over there. Now, what I did say earlier was there's not a hell of a lot of products on here. I think there's 30 odd products. And on this connection as well, you'll see, there's only a handful of products that you can actually shop here. So the importance of having this filtering and the sidebar on this side for me is probably not that important for the store. They might be growing, they might be getting more products, but then I would look at introducing that later when you've probably got maybe more than 150 products. That's when sort of sidebar filtering and sort of limiting your searches based on that becomes important. But for now, I think you could probably do away with having this section here completely and just presenting products. I think it's great that they've got two side by side, but as these shirts are probably a little bit higher end, I would even look at possibly offering just one at a time, one in a row, just to show that, it's a smaller collection, but yet you've got the presentation of them is there and you can see them in a little bit more detail before having to click through to that product page. Just looking at my notes, give me 2 seconds.
I mean, I'll just talk a little bit more. I think, also with the kind of the side filters there, it does make it quite difficult to actually shop on mobile. I mean, obviously I know we're kind of showing the spec view, but I was looking at on my mobile phone earlier on, and it was quite tricky to actually hit each of those anyway. Mm. So I think that also kind of adds a bit more potential frustration there. And I think obviously aesthetically as well, like you were saying, Peter, we want to get those products, like you say, single view, larger images, and then it just also means that you haven't then got that point at which you need another scroll to actually see multiple products. So yeah. I definitely agree with you on that point.
Cool.
I mean, the other thing for me as well is obviously, I think what struck me particularly about the store is that we have a lot of great information on the homepage about the brand, about what they do, about their ethics. If you keep scrolling down this collection page, where is that information here? We don't have really anything to say. I mean, obviously we've got Trustpilot, but again, obviously that's going, review us on Trustpilot. That will be an after you've purchased. Yeah. And particularly, if I'm thinking about our clients that use collection pages as part of their Facebook ads or Google ads, landing on this page for a new customer acquisition campaign, it really doesn't do the justice to the information about the brand that's covered on the homepage. Yeah. So that will be one of my big concerns really here.
Yeah. I think, again, that if you had to develop up that homepage, that first bit of copy and actually have some iconography there with short little blurbs, that could then be put on this collection page at the bottom of this, so that people actually that have got to the bottom of that collection still see that information. And just having some more of those trust elements just incorporated into the collection pages as well. I think that will go a long way to help people see that if this is used as a landing page itself. Okay, so now we're looking at the product pages. For me, first impressions, great. Definitely a higher end brand, so showing such great photography is important. Normally I would say let's try and save a bit of space, but I think this brand probably needs these images to be this big on a mobile as well, just to make sure that people can see it and understand the quality of these shirts. Like I mentioned earlier, the top navigation, I think we can save some space there. And that would actually ensure, so, if we do save quite a bit of space there, we would start seeing the start of that product form, which is the important thing to have above the fold. But I think the space saving on this side will come from the navigation instead of actually from these product images. I wouldn't do anything to this section over here. One of the areas we could start saving space is with the size of the title here. So currently you can see that this is quite large text. The size of this text could be reduced quite a bit. and then that would help it fit onto one line instead of it being on two lines. Great element. So on this product page, great that there's scarcity or scarcity. Showing you that there's not many items in stock. It will drive a little bit of urgency when people are wanting to shop on the store. Great to see that the size and the color options are here. One element we could probably look at getting rid of would be the quantity selector. I don't think the quantity selector is important here. And it's more important that they've got these options to see sizes and colors when they're making those selections. One thing for me that is lacking is a size guide. So I can see that there's different sizes, but for me, there's no information of, okay, well, how big are these shirts in any case? So a great way to do that is to implement and actually have a little button here that then triggers a pop-up and it contains your size guide within it to show people generally what size, who would normally be wearing this size of these products. Does the sizing run a little bit small? Does it run a little big? Should you size up, or could you run true to size here? Moving further down, I think add to cart here. I think we've lost that full black background and white because that's gone onto that buy with Google here. I think if we could just switch that back and make sure that it's still the normal add to cart button, you wouldn't lose anything. You would still have both options there. Further down the page, I think what we are sort of now losing is those trust elements that we were talking about earlier with the home page, the collection page. Those trust elements aren't brought back to this product page. This is the place that you want to start bringing those trust elements back. There's no information currently that then filters through that tells you about the shipping policy, shipping costs. There's nothing about the return policy. All that information is vital when you're looking on a product page, because that's the time when someone's looking to add something to cart, that's the time that they're wanting to know those different elements. And by not showing that information, what's going to happen is people are going to go looking elsewhere on your store for it. And then they're leaving the page that you want them to be on, the place where you want them to be adding products to cart. So all those little bits actually should be introduced, and always great to have them around the call to action buttons. So I think that for me is the vital element that's currently lacking from this page. Again, I think reviews would probably be a great implementation here. Getting your reviews actually on the product page and people can see these product reviews. Where currently there is no reviews on the site or on this product page at all. Is there anything from your side, Adam?
I think, yeah, if we keep scrolling down,
yeah,
I think obviously what you mentioned there about the sizing chart, that information is here, but as you pointed out, it's not really in the correct place, because at that point, you need to give that information before the call to action button.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, because I didn't even see this.
Exactly. And I think that's the point, is that, like you mentioned there, look, it's a great feature to have, but really I'm here, it's pointless having it because it's just too far out of the way.
Yeah.
So I think, definitely a reorganization of that information towards the top of the screen, and obviously around the call to action buttons is really key here.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely lost. Yes, I was flicking through this, but that's how most people would use a site, and not seeing this is probably key proof that this should be further up with iconography and included in pop-ups and things like that to make sure it is more obvious for people to see that.
Absolutely. Cool.
Great to see that you may also like and offering the ability for people to see different products here. It's always people, if they scroll that far down, maybe they're not so interested in that shirt. Let's offer them alternative solutions. So it's good to see that. But then we move into just different ways to navigate and then back into the footer. So for me, quite a simple, nice, easy to use product page. But I think it could definitely be improved by adding some more little trust elements, just focusing on the usability, where you present that information. But as a whole, the whole site is pretty good, easy to use, quite clean. One thing that I would definitely focus on as a whole on the site would be looking at the call to action buttons. The call to action buttons do get a bit lost because the site is a black and white design. Having black call to action buttons, yeah, it's on brand. But the unfortunate thing is they do get a little bit lost. You don't always see them, and you want your call to action buttons to stand out. So maybe some sort of animation effect, a little gloss over, getting your attention onto that button. Alternatively, looking at introducing a secondary color here that stands out a little bit more and makes it quite obvious that that's the call to action. That's the step that you want them to take on the site.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the other points for me, Peter, really is just kind of thinking probably, I guess, a little bit further down the line for this brand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, if you can just navigate back to the homepage for the moment.
Sure.
I think, one of the first call to action here in the image there is about gift the designer t-shirt with confidence, with conscience. And I think, that is, the message is great there. And obviously I expect as well, or perhaps this is because of what's obviously happening in the current situation. But I'm not really seeing much more information on the product pages about that gifting element. Now, if we go to the navigation, I think there is actually a section on gifting. And if you go to gifting here, excuse me, there is, of course, here a page dedicated to that. But at the moment, obviously, that is not necessarily something that people are going to find who are quickly shopping. And the other kind of side is that if we keep scrolling down, what you'll see is that in terms of about the brand, there are obviously some great things here that are being shown on this page, but none of this information, for example, is on the product page. So if people were shopping a particular product, for me, this will be great information to share there to actually give to the customer that, or potential customer, that experience of what they're going to receive. I think the other side of here in terms of gifting is just some ideas is, we obviously work with a lot of brands who use Recharge to kind of set up subscriptions or set up kind of recurring payments. I think, certainly I know a lot of sort of t-shirt brands have gone down this route of kind of subscription service where you can offer, a t-shirt a month. Can certainly see here, kind of offering that t-shirt at maybe a low price, sort of $5.99, and then the rest of the t-shirts are then at full price. So I think that would be something to certainly look into as a revenue stream.
Yeah. Membership sites as well. I mean, you could turn this into a membership site where
absolutely
people get access to limited releases, special products, anything like that, where members will only have that access. And if they're paying you a small little fee to become a member of the store, might be a good way to go with subscriptions.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think, if you could use something like Loyalty Lion, where you could obviously set up that kind of membership sort of loyalty program, and then, like you say, offer that, early access. I think, just a few of the kind of ideas in terms of promotion and obviously marketing, because obviously there is this kind of ethical side of the business. Obviously, we talk about a motorbike brand. I think there could be a good opportunity here to do some cross promotion, especially obviously what's happening at the moment. Maybe some kind of competition where you are cross promoting with another brand to win kind of a package of different products. So maybe kind of other motorbike related products or brands would be, certainly if I was going to be looking at this, a good way to do that. And that would also be an excellent way, obviously, to drive email signups. Now, I saw obviously from kind of doing a bit of investigation earlier that this brand currently do have a couple of email platforms they've got connected to the site. So certainly, with the subscription to the newsletter at the top, there is obviously the intention there to get those emails up. But clearly, as we've seen with a lot of brands, particularly when they're using something like Klaviyo, around about 25% of revenue for a store can come from email. So certainly that will be a good route, I think, to definitely pursue. And the last thing I was thinking about is that, and Peter, if you can again go to the navigation and go to the gifting drop down, there is actually a section on there on personalization. Now, I would imagine that, at this moment in time, with personalization, it's something obviously that many brands like to offer. But I think in terms of offering this and the mechanics of this, it can sometimes be a little bit clunky and a little bit more difficult to actually administer. Now, obviously here at the moment, what we're saying is, look, drop us a message, we can come back and then obviously personalize how you like. You may get some customers obviously wanting to do that. But I think in the longer term, what you really want to happen here is to actually either use an app or our preference really would to custom build a personalization tool that actually visualizes the product on the screen. So Pete, I don't know if you can just go open another window here
Sure.
and go to Birdman Bats. I'd just like to kind of show obviously a few of the, or one of the examples rather of something we've done previously. Now, Birdman Bats is a client that we worked with in the past. And I guess the pain point here really was that what Birdman Bats do is that they create and supply personalized baseball bats. Now, a lot of the customers that are using these will see a Birdman bat being used by a Major League Baseball player, and what they want to do is trying to replicate that or customize their own. Now, this is an example of a customizer that we built for Birdman bats, and what you can see here is Peter selects a different color. You can then essentially create your own bat to personalize this completely how you want it. So you can change the base, you can change the handle, you can change, the actual finish on the bat as well. So, this is a really great tool that enables you then to set up that personalization and actually make that a much easier experience for the customer, and then obviously get them to purchase. So, that might be something I think further down the line. Obviously, this is kind of something a bit more advanced that you probably want to add on to a store at a later stage, but certainly I can see the potential of doing something like this.
Cool.
Okay, great. So look, guys, I hope that's been a useful session today looking through this store. Again, thanks very much to the team at We Are Not Them for offering at their store for us to do this teardown. If any of you would be interested in having a teardown completed, there will be a link at the bottom of this video which will allow you to apply for a website teardown from Blend. And yeah, I hope it's been useful. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, bye.